Okay, well, if you're inspired, say something. If you're not, don't. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living in the heart of Las Cruces. Everybody keeping warm? All right, I'm Sarah Benson, and let's see, we're going to start with a couple of songs. If you would like to stand, you may. Yeah, and we're just going to get into the spirit, into the mood. Judy Hunt was talking about us sacred humans today, so let's stand up and be sacred humans today.
Love is my decision, up to me to give of my heart. Love is my decision, no one else can tell me to start. And once I decide to change my mind, God will show me how. Love is my decision right here and now. Love is my decision, up to me to stand on that bridge. Love is my decision, no one else can make me forgive. And once I decide to change my mind, God will show me how. Love is my decision right here and now. Love is my decision, up to me to dance down that road. Love is my decision, no one else can lighten my load. And once I decide to change my mind, God will show me how. Love is my decision right here and now. My decision right here and now.
I forgot you wanted to say something, Doug. Do you want to say it now?
No.
No? Oh. Something about love. It was very profound.
All right, I'll say it.
Okay.
It is so wonderful to see all of you, that you've made a decision to be here today, and God will show you how to continue to share that love that is in you.
Perfect.
I love myself the way I am. There's nothing I need to change. I'll always be the perfect me. There's nothing to rearrange. I'm beautiful and capable of being the best me I can. And I love myself just the way I am. I love you the way you are. There's nothing you need to do. When I feel the love inside myself, it's easy to love you. Behind your fears, your rage and tears, I see your shining star. And I love you just the way you are. I love the world the way it is, 'cause I can clearly see that all the things I judge are done by people just like me. So till the birth of peace on earth that only love can bring, I'll help it grow by loving everything. I love myself the way I am, and still I want to grow. The change outside can only come when deep inside I know I'm beautiful and capable of being the best me I can. And I love myself just the way I am. I love myself just the way I am.
Woo-hoo.
Good morning. Wonderful to see you all shining faces. I am Judy Hunt, welcoming you to the Center for Spiritual Living in the heart of Las Cruces, where our vision is a world in loving partnership for the good of all. Welcome to anyone visiting for the first time, and I think we have a few, which is spectacular. There's a nice visitor package at each door, so please pick up one or a couple. There's a gift certificate to the bookstore in there, so they're valuable. And also a form so you can get on our email list, because we email weekly with all the doings around here. And there may well be 5 other things you want to participate in. There's so much going on. Our community book study starts up again August 8th, and we are excited because the author of the book will Zoom in with us on August 17th. So feel free to join us to hear her, I thought. Yeah. Oh, the community book. Yeah. That's the other book. We have 2 book studies. So, wow, the writer of book Community is going to join us by Zoom. That's pretty cool. So that's August 17th. Thanks to all who helped with our Saturday sidewalk sale. I'm sure Janice was busy, and thank you very much. Teresa, yes. Teresa is getting the Book Buddies started up again on August 8th. We're going to be reading Enchantment. It looks awesome. Also, we're going to participate in the Southern New Mexico Pride Festival. That happens the first week in October. And Carrie is headlining that. She's kind of in the back over there. So if you can volunteer and help out, just sign up with her. The next board meeting is next Sunday after service. That's August 13th. Everyone is welcome. And in September, if you've noticed the fabulous paintings on the wall to the left as you go out, that's our famous Sharon Bray, and she will be teaching oil painting class. So for me, I know it's not going to look like hers, but come and play, however it turns out, it's your expression, and it's all good. That's the only way I can approach a painting class. And yes, so you've seen it. On the global CSL experience, our travelers to Chapala will be sharing the gems from their attendance. They're arriving home yesterday, I think. Yeah, so that'll be the last Sunday of this month. And in the September, there's a virtual gathering for all CSL on the 29th and 30th. So there's information on how to register for that. So that's Zoom, don't have to go anywhere, and there'll be great teachers and leaders there. So here at the Center for Spiritual Living, we believe in the power of prayer. And we have an awesome prayer group that meets every Tuesday, made up of practitioners and ministers from the 4 New Thought centers here in Las Cruces. So on the back of the chairs in front of you, you'll see there's a prayer request form, and fill it out, and in total confidentiality, we will pray with you on that. So please, we're built for prayer. We love to do it, so share with us. Also, at the end of today, Bob and I will be available if you have anything you're carrying right now that could help. A little prayer would help. And they ain't so little. They're good prayers. So sign up, use us. Also, there are gratitude cards. So tell us how Spirit is moving in your life. We'd love hearing that too. So now it is time for song, silence, and prayer.
Here I am, vessel to be used. Whatever Spirit needs of me, I will be, I will be, I will be. Here I stand. My heart is here to serve. Wherever love is leading me, I will go, I will go, I will go. Here I am, a vessel to be used. Whatever Spirit needs of me, I will be, I will be, I will be. Here I stand. My heart is here to serve. Wherever love is leading me, I will go, I will go, I will go. I will be, I will be, I will be.
Spirit in the midst of us is mighty. Spirit, I am so grateful for all of the presence here in the building, all of the pieces of God that are on Zoom, that have shown up here today, and that will join us later on YouTube. We know that each one is deeply blessed with your presence. And I'm so grateful to be in the midst of this. It is the perfect place to be. I know I will hear the perfect thing I need to hear, and that I'm guided in all things. And it is all good and all God. And so it is. Our reading today comes from the Science of Mind magazine, from an article titled Passion and Purpose Aligned. That's cool. This is always an inside job. Passion is the fire within us, igniting our desires and fueling our purpose. Our purpose is as fluid as our inner calling and guiding light. Purpose is lived from the inside out. Focusing our passion to engage our purpose is key. To direct our passion toward our purpose, we must also trust. Know that, as Mazumdar taught, our lives are always being formed in the alignment of our belief and vision, and our passion and purpose. When our passion and purpose align, we are grounded in the power of love. We manifest accordingly with ease and grace. Uncovering my purpose continues to be a journey of self-exploration. It requires focused self-awareness, introspection, and that I examine what sets my heart afire, what I am most passionate about. Ultimately, it requires that I align my passion with my purpose and commit to it, living it fully. I am committed to living my life purpose from my passion. I know my life is formed and transformed according to my belief and vision. I sense how my passion informs and fuels my purpose. As I intertwine my passion and purpose, I grow in courage and faith that overcomes all challenges to living my life purpose. In this way, I'm empowered to ride my inspiration and enthusiasm for possibility and potential to joy and fulfillment. And so it is.
Since we're talking about passion and purpose this month, I thought I'd start us out with this song, Called to Be by Faith Rivera. And I'm sure there's something in here that will speak to you. Just kind of stir up that sense of passion and purpose.
I am called to be a healer for all humanity. I am called to be a dreamer, believe in what can be. I am called to be a maker, be an instrument of peace. I am called to be a giver, of abundance I receive. I am called to be a prayer, living out the truth I seek. I am called to be everything. I am called to be the glory here on earth that all might see. All the love and all the beauty that shines in you and me. I am the living, breathing God, and you are one in me. We're called to be. You are called to be a mother, to nurture family. You are called to be a brother, be strength in times of need. You are called to be a neighbor, be a friend into all you meet. You are called to be a leader, to build community. You are called to be a prayer, living out the truth you seek. You are called to be everything. You are called to be the glory here on earth that all might see. All the love and all the beauty that shines in you and me. You are the living, breathing God, and you are one in me. You're called to be. We are called to be the kindness, set the broken-hearted free. We are called to be forgiveness, where pain has run too deep. We are called to be compassion, be the wind beneath each wing. We are called to make communion, only then can we succeed. We are called to be a prayer, living out the truth we seek. We are called to be everything. We are called to be the glory here on earth that all might see. All the love and all the beauty
shines in you and me. We are the living, breathing God, and you are one in me. We're called to be peace, called to be joy, called to be love, called to be peace, called to be joy, called to be free, called to be peace, called to be joy, called to be love, called to be.
I think Sarah just did my talk for me. I'm just kidding. Thank you, Sarah. That was perfect. Thank you so much. What are we called to be? Well, good morning, everyone. I'm Reverend Bonnie, the community spiritual leader here. Since we do have a lot of new faces today, welcome to all of you. It is fabulous to have you in this house. Yes, welcome. I'm glad you found us this morning. So as Sarah already pointed out, we are looking at a new topic for this month, my passion, my purpose. So I was just going to ask you all, what is it that you are passionate about? What are you passionate about? I'll repeat as you just throw out a few things. Health? Passionate about health. What else? Love. Poetry. Writing. Creating joy. Art. Huh? Cats. Is that what you said? Cats? Creating images. Writing backwards. Okay, so there's a lot of passion in the room, and I love it. I love it, I love it. Well, as a young person, I was passionate about the idea of saving the world. That's what I wanted to do. And at the time, Vietnam War was going on. And I actually had a dream. And in that dream, at that time, I thought wars took place on a line and one side was one thing and one side was the other, and they just sort of clashed in the middle. I know that that's not how the Vietnam War ended up being, sadly. I mean, all of it was sad. But in my dream, I handed out musical instruments to everybody on both sides. And then I had this thing that was like stairs with a platform at the top, and I pushed that into the middle of the line, got on top, and I conducted this big orchestra, and everybody made music, and the war ended. That's what I was passionate about, was figuring out ways to end wars and to bring peace and to save the world. I also saw Gandhi and Martin Luther King as role models. I wanted to make impacts like they did on the world. I wanted to help people. One of the things that also fascinated me was the way that Wendy held hands with all her friends and flew them through the air in Peter Pan. And I wanted to hold hands with my friends in my neighborhood and fly over the hill we had to walk up and over to get to school. I thought that would help them get to school. And I wanted to ease people's pain. I wanted to heal people. And so Florence Nightingale, the actual story of her fascinated me, and what she did and how she started the nursing aspect that we know today. And then as I got into high school, I became a born-again Christian, and I wanted to save souls. I cried. I spent hours journaling and praying and crying about my friends who weren't saved and the lives, the many of them that did drugs and things that I felt were hurtful to themselves. And I just felt the burden of that as a teenager and wanted to figure out ways to save them. So as I got older, all of this landed me in Codependence Anonymous, where I got to learn about where I end and where others begin, where I got to learn about what I can change and what I can't change, what is mine to do and what I need to leave for others to do. And through Codependence Anonymous, I actually found my way to religious science in the Albuquerque Center for Spiritual Living, where they actually teach that we don't need to be saved. That was a whole new concept for me. That was the end of my purpose. What do I do now? So Ernest Holmes in the Science of Mind text says, man does not exist for the purpose of making an impression upon his environment. He does not exist to express himself in and through his environment. There is a great difference. Man or woman, all of us, do not exist to leave a lasting impression upon our environment. Not at all. It is not necessary that we leave an impression. It is not necessary that we should pass. It is not necessary if we should pass on tonight that anyone should remember that we ever lived. All that means anything is that while we live, we live. And he put the "we live" in capital letters. And wherever we go from here, we shall keep on living. It is quite a burden lifted when we realize we do not have to move the world. It is going to move anyway. This realization does not lessen our duty or our social obligation. It clarifies it. It enables us to do joyously and free from morbidity that which we should do in the social state. That was a whole new way of looking at things for me. It was shifting it from I need to go in there and change the world to I need to live my truth and the world will continue to change as I do that. We don't have to move the world, it's going to move anyway. Because what started to happen and what has actually been happening again to me lately is the world feels so overwhelming that I start to feel helpless as one person. What can I do? I'm just one person. And so the goal is to live and to live fully. And that leads me back to this idea of what are we passionate about then? And how is the thing that we're passionate about your purpose? My purpose. One of the things that I enjoy watching once a week is Finding Your Roots on PBS with Henry Gates. And recently, Queen Latifah was one of his guests that he did the search for her roots. And what they discovered, to her surprise, was going back 6 generations. There were 6 generations of what they refer to as free Negroes in her family. So many of the African-American people on his show expect to find slavery somewhere in their roots. And she was so thrilled to find that it went way back. And apparently what happened is a gentleman, when he passed, willed the slaves in his possession to his wife. And his wife saw fit to free all of them. And so what Queen Latifah pointed out was she was in awe of this. That one person's decision and action changed 6 generations of her ancestors' experience. They lived as free people. So I listened to that. This was just a few weeks ago. And I thought, so one person can make a difference. One person can make a difference. And yet it's not that that person was out there thinking, I'm going to change 6 generations of someone's life. They did what they thought was right. They made the decision from within themselves to what was right. So one person can make a difference. So then I started thinking, then what is my purpose? How can I make a difference? And is our purpose about making a difference? What is our real purpose? So this month, it is suggested that as we discover what our passion is, we can discover our purpose. We can look within to figure out where we're feeling passionate. And so one of the things that I know is that when I found and started studying religious science, it completely shifted how I viewed my purpose. And it was largely because it shifted how I saw myself in relation to all people and to the world. So first of all, one thing that changed is I saw myself as part of the whole. I saw myself as part of God expressing in the world. Therefore, I was not outside of the whole coming in as a savior. I wasn't someone out here and everybody else was over here. And then I needed to look at how it is then I can make a difference from within the whole. That was a new question for me. How do I shift an experience within the whole and see how that moves out? So I'm not a fixer coming in from the outside anymore. I am one with the whole, and I'm a doer and an actor from within that whole. And those actions ripple out and make the difference. The second thing that I learned from religious science is that we are all God expressing. All God expressing, even those that we find difficult in how they're expressing. Again, Ernest Holmes from the Science of Mind text. Spirit is changeless reality. That which we call personality, which is our outward expression, is the instrument through which spirit operates. But spirit can operate for the individual only by operating through the individual. Spirit is never bound by the form it takes, and it is not affected by any apparent cause or condition, but is forever free. Spirit not only fills all forms, but surges around them and through them. Ice is formed from water. All ice is some form of water. Just so, God and man exist in an eternal state of unity. The solid and the liquid are one substance. So that analogy really spoke to me. The idea that I'm a solid form of spirit and I'm going to essentially melt back into spirit someday. But for now, I am expressing spirit in this form. And I get to choose how I'm going to express spirit. That's where the choice comes in. I get to choose how I'm going to let spirit move in and through me. And so now the world isn't divided into good guys and bad guys, and all us good guys are out there trying to fix the bad guys. The world is all God expressing. So that's a different challenge for me. That's a different way of looking at the world and looking at how then do I figure out what my purpose is when I look at all the ways that God expresses around me. In the foundations class, which was the original, what do we call it now, Beyond Limits, it was the original class that beginning people in this movement took. In there, by the time I got done with that class, I determined that my purpose was to give God a good time as me. If God's expressing as me, then I want to give God the best time ever, expressing as me. Now, what that means and how that looks has shifted throughout the years, because when we say a good time, that doesn't necessarily mean I just want to party all the time and say, whoo, let's have fun. It's how am I allowing the highest expression of God to move through me? All those qualities of God. Am I being a clear channel? Is it a good experience in the sense that it's a meaningful experience? It doesn't just mean playtime. It does include that, because one of my lessons is learning how to play more in my life. So a good time for me has a lot of different meanings, but I have to constantly ask myself, am I giving God a good time? Am I being at that channel where God's Spirit is getting to express as me in this form? So then this month I started looking at, okay, what am I passionate about then? How do I discover through looking at what I'm passionate about, how it is that I find my purpose? Since COVID, one of the first things that I did when everything shut down is I dove back into the dirt. I love plants. I love working in the dirt. I love growing things. I've always loved plants, and that runs in my family. My grandmother did, my brother does, my dad does. So this is something that's probably in my DNA. So I thought, well, why am I passionate about plants? Well, first of all, they provide oxygen that helps us breathe. They also provide food, and I'm all about feeding people. I love to see people eat the food I've made and that they're happy and that it nourishes them. It also is a way for me to feel like I am doing care for this planet in a sustainable way. I find ways to garden and to plant that I'm not using a lot of chemicals. I try and do it as naturally as possible. I do a lot of co-planting. I love the beauty of that, and what has been discovered is that diversity helps plants to live. Monocropping is not the best way to grow things. It's the most expedient way when it comes to making money, but that requires a lot of chemicals. But co-planting and having diversity and plants working together is actually the healthier way to grow things. And so that experience, learning how to co-plant, what plants work together and support each other, led me to experiencing different foods. So one of the things I planted a lot of my first year of COVID was okra. And I had never had okra in my garden. And so I was Googling all different recipes for okra, and I made some amazing things. And I experienced Indian food and Southern food and all kinds of fun stuff that I was making for myself to experience how to use this food that was coming out of my garden. And that led me to share with you my second passion is different cultures, different foods, different people, how people live, what foods they use, and how they use the plants in their environment and eat different things than what we might have right here. And doing that helps me to feel like I'm connecting to different people. So again, what I love and what I'm passionate about is the diverse expression that comes through people and plants. And then I love bringing people together. There's something about bringing people together that I enjoy. I like to see people from different walks of life come together and connect. Ernest Holmes says that we are all unity, but not uniformity. And so I love that we don't need to be the same. So bringing people together isn't so that we become the same. It's to celebrate those differences and to learn from each other's differences. So what I'm passionate about is the variety that comes with plants and people. And an example I'll give you, this started long before I found religious science. In high school, I had finished all my main credits by my senior year. So I got to spend my senior year in drama, in dance, and in 3 different choirs. So I did a lot of performing arts in my senior year. My best friend was into science and math, and she hung out with the geeks in the school. Our birthdays were very close. And so for 3 different years, we got a kick out of having our birthday parties together and inviting everyone from both sides. You know, these are little cliques that did not mesh in school, but we'd bring them all together for a party and just have fun watching what happened, seeing who would talk to who and how they would mix and if they would dance together. And we would try and set that example. So that was like fun for me. That was part of what I got passionate about, was seeing how to bring different groups of people together and what they would do in the same room. So this then plays into my passion that I still have today for connecting people, bringing people together, and watching what happens when they connect with each other. And essentially what I saw, sort of the vision I saw, is here's unity, and we span out, so all these different expressions, but then I like to kind of pull those back together and tie this little knot here and this little knot here and bring it back into unity, but not so that it's all the same. I love what Ernest Holmes said about not uniformity, but I just sort of saw this web coming back together. And some of what is still residual from my childhood and has evolved over time, I still sort of have this, I want to save the world thing, and I was wanting to save souls back then. And so it's moved into my current passion for connecting people with the truth of who they are. That's part of what we teach here. It's part of what I love teaching in class, what I love talking about, what I love doing with one-on-one. When you see the light bulb come on, when somebody realizes, wow, this is who I really am. And they start to move from that place in their life, and it changes their life. That, to me, is part of what I'm passionate about this teaching. I love seeing that go on in people's lives and seeing people come into touch with that so they can give God a good time through them as well. So, since so much of my life I spent this idea of what a life purpose was, thinking that I had to change the whole world for better, I admit, and I've already mentioned, that I spent a lot of my time feeling overwhelmed also by the world, feeling overwhelmed by the big stuff, the big world issues that still weigh on me. Global warming. My dad started talking about that when I was a kid. That's part of what his research was about as a scientist. So the fact that it's just now finally becoming a thing, and look what's happened, nobody listened to the scientists back then. I find that difficult to deal with sometimes. I feel overwhelmed by the heat that we're experiencing, knowing that we could have possibly changed this back many years. I get overwhelmed by the divisiveness in the world, in our nation, and in the world at large. The wars, what's going on between Ukraine and Russia. I had a Russian pen pal as a kid. I don't hate the Russians. I couldn't. I loved her. I loved writing to her. My dad worked with her father as scientists. But I don't like seeing the wars. I don't like seeing what's going on. I just ache every time there's more gun violence in this country on those mass levels. Why? I just ache over seeing how humans will treat each other sometimes. And then race relations, that just eats at me. How do we solve these issues, these big issues? And so when I look at that, I do start to feel overwhelmed. I start to feel sad and down and sometimes downright depressed. And I will admit, sometimes just like giving up. What do we do? I'm one person, what can I do? So this topic came at a good time for me to once again start contemplating this. I reminisced on my past passions, and that helped me look at what are my current passions. So that high school passion of wanting to save souls reminded me that another passion of mine at that time was studying the Bible. It was something that I loved doing because I was curious. I didn't grow up in it. So I didn't grow up with the interpretation of it that most of the people that I knew who grew up with it had. I was coming at it with a whole different way of looking at it. And so I was passionate about diving into what did it really mean? What did the original writers mean? Who wrote this? Who interpreted it? Why did they interpret it this way? And so as I thought about that, I realized that I got really jazzed about one portion of what I saw in there, which was when Jesus went into the temple and overturned the tables of the money changers. Because one of the things that I had issue with was watching my father's anger, which would become violent sometimes. And to me, this showed that there was a way to be angry. Even Jesus got angry. That spoke to me back then. I was okay, there has to be a way that I can be angry and not harm others. There has to be a way that I can say this isn't okay and have that be okay. And that's part of what we're getting out of our community book right now as well. And so as I thought about that, I also remembered that one of the things that I also was fascinated by was the role of Judas in the end story there, because that's been interpreted in so many different ways. And at one point in my life, when I was at UNM, I was comfortable in my job. I had a job that I liked. I had benefits. I had a full-time job. And I really, really thought ministries looked fun and like that was something I was feeling a call to do, but it was really hard for me to think about leaving that job. And then all of a sudden there was a woman that was put over me as my immediate supervisor because they needed her to have someone to supervise in order to move up the chain. Her way of supervising was very difficult for me. And it was difficult for the people I supervised because she was telling me to tell them to do things that I didn't agree with or feel comfortable doing. And so what came to me is she was my Judas. She was doing her job. Her job was not just to do whatever the university asked her to do. Her job was to get me to move on, to go on to the next thing that was mine to do. So I gave them my 6 months notice because they refused to give me somebody else as a supervisor. And I came to ministerial school to actually do my calling. So it was interesting to me that this month, as I'm pondering all this, the Unity magazine for this September-October 2023 has an entire article in here called Still in Love with Judas by Reverend Maggie Whitehouse. Isn't that the way it works? And in here, she talks about all the different ways that Judas has been seen by scholars, by people, theologians, the different ways you could look at Judas and the role that Judas played. And one of her conclusions is this Judas aspect, when healthy, is the part of us that forces us to step up and out into the light. The one that makes us show up in our true glory and sexuality, she says. We need positive Judas. We need that power and animal force. And let's face it, without Judas, we wouldn't have the resurrection and perhaps no Christianity at all. Now, I'm not sure, whether I'll keep my opinions on that, but I just thought, isn't that interesting, though? You look at the role of, again, one person, and most theologians feel he was doing what he was asked to do. He was doing that was his calling. Her conclusion to this entire article is from the Gospel of Thomas. If you bring forth what is within you, what you bring forth will save you. If you do not bring forth what is within you, what you do not bring forth will destroy you. So what is your purpose? And what is your passion? And how do we bring that forward? So again, I read that. I was thinking about all of this stuff from my childhood, and I once again saw how the Judas in my life was that force that pushed me toward my greater passion to move on to ministerial school. And as the reading said, all that means anything is that while we live, we live. We live what our passion is drawing us toward. So once again, I thought it's not about who's good or bad, because we could label Judas one way or the other, but it's not about that. It's about what we're called to do, how we do it, and how we live, and then how we let our passions move us through to our purpose, and our actions move from that. And we let those actions then impact the people in the world around us. Like Ernest Holmes said, there doesn't mean we don't have a social responsibility, but we move from that space of that inner passion, which I think is spirit in us. So for me to recap, in terms of the passions that I've been thinking about, celebrating the diversity of God's expression through people and plants, seeing it all as part of the beauty of what is on this planet, celebrating the connections, the oneness, the connection that I have with God within myself, with me to others, and also facilitating connections between people and realizing the overarching oneness that we are. So it makes sense that some folks have been telling me since we started reading the community book, they've seen me be re-energized. They've seen a new light in me. And it makes sense because it is tapping into that core passion that I have, which is developing and growing community and being a part of it. And yet I'm finding new ways of doing that through this book, new ways of bringing people together, new ways of giving permission for and celebrating the dissent and the no. What I would take back to the anger that is expressed and felt when something doesn't feel right, doesn't look right. How do we move to address that and allow for the no and see what comes from the no that moves us forward? So that's a whole new approach. I've talked about it a few times because it's still working in there. It's still part of my newness. And realigning my purpose with my passions. What are my current passions today? Now, a lot of things have shifted. And so because of this book, I'm getting new ways of being, and I will speak again in 2 weeks, and I will be addressing what happens when what you think is your purpose disappears. How do you repurpose? So that'll be my next talk. But for this time, part of what I've been looking at is my role. So technically the community spiritual leader, how do I do leadership in light of what we're learning in this community book? How do I now, what I think is my role, create the stage or the space for others to discover their truth? For others to discover their gifts or bring their gifts forward and bring them into this community so that we all benefit from everyone's gifts. Again, it's not about me orchestrating this wonderful change in the world. It's not that anymore. It never really was. It's about creating the space here for you all to come and bring all the beautiful gifts that you are into this space and seeing how it is we develop community here and have those conversations. And so I thought about Jesse Jennings, my favorite author. This is this month's Science of Mind, and of course, it's focused on passion and purpose. So he has a whole article in here. It's worth reading, but his conclusion is, because my question is always, what is mine to do? How do I know? And his conclusion is, here's a clue about when it's your turn to serve. When a situation repeatedly presents itself to us, something in us connects or the situation would have appeared elsewhere. We are free to engage life's complexities beyond assigning or taking blame. And I liked that sentence. So we can engage with the complexities, the things that we feel need to change without assigning blame either to out there or to ourselves. Free to stay in the process. Evoking the oneness we know in our hearts is all there ever is. So I thought that was a beautiful conclusion, and it helped me to consider and to remember that once again, I'm back to that statement that I believe is so true, that I am here to give God a good time through me. And so it is. So thank you. I'll ask the practitioners that are here to stand around the room and know that their passion and their love is supporting us. We are all part of this community. We're all in this together, and I'm so grateful for each and every one of you. And those of you that are visiting, I'm grateful you're here today as well. Please be sure you get a visitor packet if you haven't. All right, so let's just take those thoughts, those ideas inward, breathing into our heart space, allowing thoughts about what we are passionate about to surface, and thinking about and opening to guidance as to how that passion guides us in our purpose, how that passion draws us forward. And also considering those in our life who we find challenging, what might they be pushing us toward? What might they be bringing up within us that is ready to be expressed in a whole new way, that is part of the passion and purpose that we are in this world? And so I just know that in any given time, we are exactly where we need to be. And all those that are meant to show up in our lives show up, either as Judas or Jesus or as Gandhi or as Martin Luther King, as Florence Nightingale, any of these great leaders. In whatever way, they are here to spur us on, cheer us on, bring us to that place of passion within ourselves as we allow ourselves to take action from that place. And so I'm grateful for all those expressions of spirit, all those that show up in our lives, and each individual who showed up in this room here today. I give thanks for this community and for the way that we are learning to engage with each other in a whole new way, allowing those gifts to come forward from so many different places, making us a brighter and stronger and more vibrant community, one that blesses our larger community and the world, one life making a difference. I'm so, so grateful. As I release these words, I know that Spirit is already moving in and through them and in and through each heart in this room, and those that are listening and those that will listen. We give great thanks, and so it is. Thank you, practitioners.
I don't know if all of you know Mrs. Patricia Carr. She's got herself up here to sing with me. This is a song I wrote called Heartlight, and I wanted to do this today on our first day of talking about passion and purpose, because one of my passions is spiritual devotion. It's not something I've talked about too much, but I really like the mystics of all traditions. I'm drawn to that kind of an expression of giving and receiving love that's so powerful and so sweet. And I like fire imagery, and I don't know. There's just something that touches our hearts and enlivens us and flows to us and through us, and I just love that. So and Patricia likes it too. So we're gonna do this song.
And I just want to reiterate, in case you didn't hear her, that Sarah wrote this song. It is so incredibly beautiful, and I am humbled and honored that she invited me to sing this with her.
Beloved, you ignite my heart light. Your radiance a living flame. Oh, star fire blaze in every dark heart. Sing my true and holy name with love that calls me home to you. Home to you, home to you. Oh, love, you hold my heart in gentle hands as I touch your lovely face in prayer and peace. Life is mystery, so much I don't understand, yet I know your embrace is real release. Beloved, you ignite my heart light, your radiance a living flame. Oh, star fire blaze in every dark heart. Sing my true and holy name with love that pulls me home to you. Home to you, home to you. In my wanderings, your welcome waits for me. At every dead end, you are my open door. You kiss my eyes so I can clearly see kindness greater than I've ever known before. Beloved, you ignite my heart light, your radiance a living flame. Oh, star fire blaze in every dark heart. Sing my true and holy name with love that calls me home to you. Home to you, home to you. As I reverence you, your joy rekindles mine. Blessing flows to all and returns to me. I recognize all life as precious and divine. One great love shimmering with grace and beauty. Beloved, you ignite my heart light, your radiance a living flame. Oh, star fire blaze in every dark night. Sing my true and holy name with love that calls me home to you. Home to you, home to
to you.
Wow, I have chills. The love that calls me home to you. That's a beautiful line. It was absolutely gorgeous. Your harmony is beautiful. Thank you, Patricia, for joining her, and Sarah for writing. I'm so grateful that some people's passion is music, because that feeds us and helps us as well. Thank you so much, all of you. Thank you for getting up here. Wow. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Well, now is that time when we consider giving back to the center, and also the places that we give 10% of all that comes through this center. There are collection plates on either table as you exit, so we aren't passing things hand to hand yet. I just know and trust that all that we need we are supplied with and comes through the hands of you and others that come through these doors. And 10% of all that we are collecting this month is going to Casa de Peregrinos, which has the mission to end hunger while providing mobile pantries and resources that build strong, diverse, and inclusive relationships and partnerships in the community. And not only is that the place that we are tithing to this month, but they also have a new building, and they're going to have a grand opening at that new building. Hold on, next Friday, right? Yeah, next Friday on the 14th at 4:30, and it's at 999 West Amador. And you are all invited. They've invited us because we've tithed to them before. And Doug, are you on their board? Yeah, Doug is on their board. So we want to support them if you're able to go to their grand opening of their new building, 999 West Amador, next Friday at 4:30. The 11th. Is that next Friday? Yes, this coming Friday, the 11th. So thank you all. That's where we're tithing to this month, and we also want to celebrate with them as they have a new building. And then I also have a thank you from from Pamela Angel this is the Amador Health Center, which we also tithed to prior. Our mission is to provide compassionate health care to those most in need in our community, and this would not be possible without you. Together, we can help bridge the gap between people and the care they need, and we want to express our sincere gratitude for your contributions in this work. So, little do you know sometimes what all the lives are that are being touched, but they're being touched by us in various ways, and some of it is by what comes through the doors here. 10% goes out to support others. And we also had somebody in our community they heard what I said about what we could do for the unhoused in this community, and they purchased 96 umbrellas. Yeah. And so I took 45 of them to Heart of the World Church, and they put them in their 45 bags that they're giving out this week. I brought the rest here. Janice and her crew gave out, I guess, one on Saturday to somebody who needed it, and we're going to put the tree of them out there. So there are more umbrellas. These are not for us. We all have places to get in the shade. These are for us if you want to take a few and you see somebody out there that looks like they need it. We also have water bottles in the freezer right now. I put a whole case in there this morning. Yesterday, Shauna and I gave out, I think, 11 umbrellas with water to people, and the gratitude on their faces is just so heartwarming. We just went up to folks sitting under trees and said, would you like an umbrella and water? And we got, God bless you. God bless you, was the response back. So we want to share the love. If you want to take an umbrella or two or three or four, whatever you feel like you can, water, and just drive. Heart of the World has sort of the valley area down here. That's where those 45 are going. So we spread out up onto Solano and over to near on Madrid there, near the Fiesta food. We gave 3 out over there. So just spread out around this community and let's share the love. The water is so important. I mean, immediately the cold frozen water bottles went on people's necks. They just hugged them to them. They were so grateful. So you can do that also if you want. Just more, the water is something we can keep doing as long as it's hot out. Just keep freezing it and handing it out. So that being said, let's say our gratitude prayer together, because this is so very true. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Thank you, God, in me. And we will sing I Am So Blessed, and I hope you sing it from your heart.
I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed.
So just take that in and think about all the water and food and coolness that you get to experience in your life, and let's just see what we can do about sharing and relieving some of what people are experiencing out there, out in our community. And also, we have so many new people here today. That's exciting. I have one person who is really ready to join the center, so I'm doing a new member orientation after the service. You can join me in my office, so if anybody else wants to join us, let me know. It's just a short letting you know what we're all about, and if you'd like to join us, we would love to have you be part of our community officially. So let us stand and sing our closing song together. And remember, practitioners are here to pray with you after the service as well.
All right. Woo-hoo.
Go out and shine your light. You know the time is right. You gotta go out and shine your light. Go out and shine. Go out and shine. Go out and shine your light. You know the time is right. You gotta go out and shine your light. Go out and shine. Go out and shine. Step out and take a chance. Walk the talk, join the dance. Relax, enjoy the ride. Let kindness be your guide. You gotta go out and shine your light. You know the time is right. You gotta go out and shine your light. Go out and shine. Go out and shine. One voice, one hand, one heart. Wanna change, make a start. We're one big family. What's good for you is good for me. Come on and go out and shine your light. You know the time is right. You gotta go out and shine your light. Go out and shine. Go out and shine. Go out and shine.
Go out and shine and greet the new people that are here and greet each other with love. And so it is. Have a great day. Great week.